Odera, sorry. Karibuni sana.
Thank you.
Thank you for inviting us.
Yes, so tell us about yourselves. How long have you been married? What do you guys do?
Well, who's going to go first? Myself or yourself? Okay, right. David Odera is my name, as you've all heard.
Yeah.
I'm a businessman. I've been in business on my own for the past 15 years.
Yeah.
Dee and I have been married for the past 22 years and some months. We're
22 years.
22 years.
Wow.
23 actually this year.
Wow, looking good, guys. Looking good.
Thank you. So marriage does work.
It does.
Yes.
I have a few people who think otherwise. I don't know what you guys think about some of this feedback. Guys on Facebook are saying, I think marriage is not for everyone. So can we start there? Is marriage for everyone?
Well, our take is very, we base all our decisions on the Bible. And the book of Genesis tells us that the Lord God said, it's not good for man to be alone. I will make a helper for him. That in itself tells us that it is something that is God ordained.
Yeah.
And therefore should be in the life and the plans of everybody. But I think when I hear some of the comments that have been made there on Facebook, it's like looking at a job and saying this job is not for me, and yet you haven't even gone through the interview. So if you don't know anything about the job, how can you make a decision about whether this job is good for you or not? So I think during the course of this morning's discussions, we're going to be able to hopefully build up and give people the encouragement that marriage is for everybody because it is God ordained.
Yeah.
I also want to add that when they say marriage is not for everybody, that's just half the story. That's their assumption. So there must have been a reason that has drawn to that conclusion. So meaning that they were married before, or were they in a relationship that did not work? And was it the only one? Have there been many? So I believe that's a stereotype statement. Yeah, but I believe everyone has the opportunity to get married, because when you get married, what do people say you get married to do? To live happily ever after. So I want to say everyone has the opportunity to live happily ever after. You have to choose.
The reason that people get married.
They're the right reasons, and then they're the wrong reasons. The wrong reasons are those ones now that we get the feedback that they're not cut out for it. Because how did they go into it to start with? So the right reasons are, first of all, you want to share your life with someone. Yeah, when I refer to David as my better half, I'm already good, but he makes me better.
Wow.
And the good that is in me,
Kroba and I are married.
I want to share the good to make my life even better with him. So he makes that part of me, he makes me better. He makes my love better. He makes my relationship with others better. He makes me treat people better because of the way he treats me, because of the way we relate. So first and foremost, some of those attributes you say is compatibility is key. And then also friendship. Are you friends? David and I were friends for a long time. We talk a lot together. We still laugh together today. So he's not just a good friend, but my best friend. I actually married my best friend.
And you'll find that when I was looking for a wife, when I looked at Dee, there's so many attributes in her that I saw. And I can honestly say she completes me. Wherever it is that I fall short, she's the one who now fills that gap. And so that's one of the things, or one of the many things that we can do to encourage people. Look for compatibility, look for companionship. But we have to be careful about how we go about these things. Because sometimes we just dive in for that compatibility or that companionship without necessarily checking out, are we going into the right place? The world is a jungle out there. And when you're going out there, you just think back of when Adam was made. When he was out there in the jungle, think that you are the guy who was there looking for a helpmate. If it's a jungle out there, what's out there? Animals. And there's many predators. Some are on 2 legs, some are on 4 legs. When you step out there and you just hook onto the first animal, what are you going to be getting involved in here in terms of your marriage? You'll suddenly find that you're not married to your companion, you're married to a beast. And you'll only discover that much later on in life. And you find that it's a very dangerous thing to do. I often tell young people when we're counseling them, life is very interesting. When you're going into dating and relationships, as your heart grows bigger, your eyes grow smaller. It's almost like a swelling takes place.
You, this guy is perfect.
This guy is perfect,
can
you
never
know?
hurt me.
And your heart grows bigger and bigger, and your eyes grow smaller and smaller. It's like you're becoming blind.
Love is blind.
Life is blind. The problem is, as the swelling begins to go down,
The eyes
and the eyes begin to open, you suddenly discover
shock.
that this is the beast I've married.
Yeah.
And then those are the people who then begin to say how marriage is bad.
Yeah.
Because they never went through the right steps. They never went through what we would encourage a lot of people to do. Go through dating, go through relationships. And we have to be very careful how we begin to define what dating and relationships are. A lot of people unfortunately think dating is a relationship. It's not. For us, dating it's like carrying out the interview. And when you're looking for a job, you will go to very many different interviews. That doesn't cheapen you. It means you're looking for the right thing to match you.
Yeah.
Yes? And the same thing when you're dating. It's not because you have a date, let's say, Candy, you and I are going on a date.
Yeah.
Then tomorrow I go on a date with D. It doesn't mean that I'm a loose person. No. What I'm trying to do is I'm trying to find the person who fits me best. So if I go on a number of dates, and those dates have to be very clear. The commitments that have to be made, the lines that have to be defined as to what you can or cannot do during a date, that has to be very clear.
That is now something else.
That is something else altogether.
Another thing I want to ask you.
Yeah.
There are guys who can be married because mamako amekwambia, you know, Fred, no, uko 35 years, you're now turning 40. Get someone. What can you tell those people?
Yeah.
Well, that is out of peer pressure.
Yeah.
Well, sometimes people need a nudge and a shove to move forward. Sometimes maybe the mother has seen this person, but they have been dating for too long, and the mother is wondering, here, I've accepted this person, but it seems like the next step is not there. So sometimes people do that because they're waiting for that assurance from people that this is the right person. But sometimes we have to also be very, very, very careful here. It is peer pressure. Remember that it is not your family or your mother who is pressurizing you, who is going to live with this person in the same house. It is you. This is not someone who is coming to compliment your mother. It's someone who is coming to compliment you, to spend the rest of your life with you, not with your mother, though the mother is part of that family. And even better when she's, or he and she are, or she accepted into this family, and they live together in unity and harmony, the way families should live. But peer pressure, I say, hold your horses.
You know, Kroba? You know, Kroba, one of the big problems is people want to solve a short-term problem, not realizing that marriage is a long-term commitment. So when you solve a short-term problem, you're going to enter into a long-term commitment.
Long-term problem.
We're talking about, I am speaking on behalf of women. Women who are not married. I'm married, but I've seen my buddies date a guy for 10 years, 8 years, moving together. You do the cooking, the cleaning. You know you have really fronted, but there's no engagement ring. This guy is not proposing, and the chick is dumped, and then he marries in 2-3 months. Let me tell you, that's and I've seen it over and over again. So I'm asking, is it the girl's fault for moving in? One. And two, why is this guy not proposing?
And first of all, it's not biblical.
Yeah.
But let me use an example that most people can try and relate to. If you go to buy a perfume in a shop, are you given the whole bottle to test? No, you're not.
No.
Typically, there's a little tester. And that's all it is. It's just a short spray. You test it and you determine whether it's good enough for you or not. Why are you allowing yourself, if you are the perfume, why are you allowing yourself to be sprayed on all the time?
Okay. So the ladies should stop moving in.
What are you doing moving in?
We are trying to get the engagement ring.
There's so many other ways you can get that engagement ring without moving in.
Yeah.
Wow.
What is it that you're making this man look forward to if you're giving him everything up front?
Kroba, do you agree?
I totally agree.
Man to man, do you agree?
I totally agree.
Chicks should stop moving in?
In fact, never move in.
Kata.
Kangumu. If the guy wants you, he has to work it hard. Most guys value things that they work hard for.
Yeah.
And I'm sure he agrees with me.
Cars,
Wachana hata na gari. Yani, whatever it is you've worked hard for, you value it.
Exactly.
Okay. The short time to make an hour, you see how much I value my job.
Yeah.
How much time I give it. You can tell I value it.
Yeah.
So, same case. People who value their things, they will take good care of them. Yeah.
So girls should stop moving in. Fine.
Yeah, you know, Kroba, when a girl moves in, on her part, she's committing herself. But committing herself on what basis? And I believe the gentleman respects her more when she does not move in, because especially if it was at his request and she says, no, not now, I still love you, but let's wait for the right time, for the right thing to happen.
Come see my parents.
This man respects her even more. He knows, hey, this one, she's no joke.
Yeah.
He respects her even more, and the guy knows he has to keep trying harder. But when she agrees him, he knows, even marriage now, it can stay back for a while since I have her in my house. Yes,
Now, there are those who've moved in already.
Yeah, they're already
There are those who've moved in right now and they are watching our
the show. Yeah.
What can you tell them?
I would tell them, first of all, are you communicating? What is the agreement? What is the agreement? Were promises made? What kind of promises? If there were no promises made, honestly, move 2 steps backwards before you move forward, because you are just using each other. Let me not say one is using the other, but you're both using each other. You're both hurting each other. So I would say, honestly, move back before you move forward. What are those? Get it right. Yeah, even if it is going back, yes, you've been living for a long time. We have churches that nullify those marriages. You can go back, you know, repent and set off in the right track. But don't continue to live the way you're living today. It's not right. You're going to hurt yourselves, and it's not healthy for a family. Very soon children begin to come in. What kind of children are you bringing in? That is not a married union. Yeah.
Me agree now, because there are those who even have kids, and some are even big. Maybe even the kids are even watching the show now.
Yeah, that's why you see more and more people are going back to church. Yeah. They have been living together for 5 years, for 10 years, for 20 years. Some of them even make their children part of the bridal party because they want to show their children. We did not do it right. We realized.
I think that is something to celebrate if they do.
Yes, it is. We're taking it back where we went wrong. We're correcting it so that also in future you do the same.
Let's also understand that marriage is an institution ordained by God. Why are we watering it down to what it should not be? There are certain precepts that God wants us to have in place before we go into that step of marriage. If you're trying to negate all of those things that are biblical, are you really going to expect this marriage to be, wow, the best? It's not going to happen. So step back. Assess your situation, put everything before God. It's a lifetime commitment that He wants you to be able to enjoy the fullness of it.
You guys are marriage counselors. What are some of the top problems you hear? If I can just throw one, mpango wa kando. I know it's not happening everywhere, but it looks like everyone is cheating on everyone.
Well,
tricky.
When situations like that come out, half the times, the person who feels that they have been cheated on believes that it's a weakness on their part.
Especially women, right?
We try and make them understand. When, let me use this example, if a man does that to you, it does not necessarily mean that there's something wrong with you. There's something wrong with him. What he has done is a reaction of what he feels is not right. So the man needs to sort himself out, find out what is it in him that is making him do that, and how can he resolve it, especially if it is in a marriage. he's committed to this lady. Before God, before man, he said, I so-and-so do take you. You took her home. What has made you change your mind? And then also there's a lot of baggage that people go into a marriage with.
Yeah, past.
When that baggage is not resolved before you get married, it creeps in. Yeah.
Baggage. What does baggage? So you're saying people get married with baggage. This baggage has a way of interfering or affecting the health of the marriage. So what does this baggage look like?
A lot of times this baggage is your first relationship, your first sexual encounter. Sometimes it's even family baggage. What does Uncle so-and-so or Auntie so-and-so say about marriage? What is the environment you've grown up in? If it's been a very negative environment in terms of what marriage is like, it's going to affect you. And unfortunately, that's the baggage that you're bringing into this relationship. And I often tell young people, you'll discover that this person who you want to get married to, believe it or not, they're already married. But what do I mean by that? They're married to their baggage. So what happens is you are trying to get into, you are Mr. Wonderful in this relationship, but you're suddenly finding that this young lady is already in this relationship with this baggage, and you're having to fight against this baggage. And oftentimes, instead of you seeing this wonderful lady, you're seeing her baggage. People need to step back, clean themselves out of that baggage, so that when they enter into a relationship, they're coming in. And this is the other thing that unfortunately is the big problem. People go into marriage to look for what they can get out of it, instead of what can they bring into the marriage.
That is
the idea behind marriage and companionship is how can I contribute to fulfilling the needs of this person? And if they have the same viewpoint as yourself, you're both trying to fulfill each other's needs. And in that way, companionship develops, an understanding develops, a closeness develops. It's not a smooth ride.
22 years later, 23?
Almost 23, yes.
Almost 23 years later. You've had your highs and you've had your lows, eh?
Yes.
Absolutely.
How low are the lows?
Well,
Have you ever packed?
not really.
Direct.
Not really.
Yeah.
But I've packed in my mind.
Oh, yes. We all have, darling. It's like we've all packed in our heads.
Sometimes, yes, we're living in the same house, but we're not communicating. Yes, I know I'm supposed to love him, but I may not necessarily love him always. Sometimes I don't like him. But that's normal. That's natural. There are those highs and those lows. But the best thing, well, for us, what brings us back together is that we're very good friends. So I miss my best friend when we're not talking. So I'm eager to resolve that and to push it behind me. Like one of the lows that I can mention is there was a time we agreed to disagree about a particular situation and move on. We just thought, okay, we're making a big thing out of this. Let's agree to disagree and move on. But we moved on, and I was moving on, trying to prove to him that I am right, and he was doing the same. So what did we end up doing? We ended up hurting each other, even a lot more. It was not helpful. So that has been, at least, I think, our lowest moment.
There's another thing I wanted to pan into you guys, and especially for you. Do you think guys who are in a personally are married, the male company a normal guy keeps matters a lot on how at home he will be?
You know, it's good for a man to have friends.
It's good.
It's good for a man to have friends because there are certain things which are manly that you're not going to really and truly expect your wife to be able to relate to. Okay? However, it is upon you not to necessarily succumb to peer pressure. It is upon you to be wise enough to be able to sift through and understand what is beneficial to you. What is when I say to you, not just you as an individual, but as a couple. Okay? What is going to be beneficial to you? Now, Crowbar, you have to be careful. How much time are you spending with those men?
With the boys.
With
There's
the
a
boys.
place I'm going with this question.
Yes.
Na nataka upate my direction. Ukikam tuko atujuani, umetupata sisi na Kendi, umekam ukauliza Kendi, kwenda Peponi Road ni aje, nakwambia da. Mimi nikwambie kwenda Peponi Road ni aje, that's a roundabout, uteremke first left on your turn, utaenda upande. There it's easy, correct me if I'm wrong, it's easy for a guy to believe another guy than to believe another chick. Unanishika? So my question is going, because it's easy to believe, your point inafikaga that you cannot be influenced. Unanishika? That way kwa hii relationship, on top of to influenced, you choose the positive end of it.
Okay, then one of the things that you will discover over time, and I'm sure you've probably seen it, there's a major problem with us men. Our communication. Kidogo.
Kabisa. That's very true.
Ladies talk. You talk. That's how you express yourselves. Kama kuna shida, that's how it comes out. Sisi wanaume kukiwa na shida, we
go into a cave, the
man
man
into
cave.
A cave.
Yeah.
And that's what happens even when we're with our boys. Mabeshte. The problem is when we're with them, we don't talk. We'll talk about Manu, we'll talk about Arsenal, we'll talk about business proposals. We don't talk about issues. We'll talk about, hey, do you see what happened with ODM yesterday? Oh, you saw what TNA were doing? We don't talk about what happened at home.
How is your wife?
The ladies get together and they talk. And when they talk, what are they doing? They are offloading that baggage. Sisi tunaenda home with that baggage.
You still have the content.
You still have it.
Creeping in.
It's there.
Yeah. Someone is asking, what's your advice for people from different communities? And your parents don't want you to get married. Like, for instance, I'm a Meru girl. I got married to a Luya. And those are just after post-election violence. So you can imagine the tribal element was at its strongest. But it's still there today. So what is your advice?
You know, it's important that you get the blessings of your parents. But at the same time, understand and appreciate that marriage is not between you and your parents, it's between you and your spouse. Part of the challenges of marriage is understanding one another's family. And you have to learn how to communicate. You need a lot of patience and understanding, and a lot of prayer as well. If you're praying over the matter, if both of you are bringing this matter before God, and hopefully can also involve both sides of the family, put these matters to prayer. God will find a solution for you. He'll open a way for you. If it was meant to be, it will be.
And you two are from different communities, right?
We are from different communities. Yes, he's from Western and I'm from the coast. So it does work. It does work.
And your families didn't give you a headache about it?
No, they did not. Yeah, we talked it through. We explained we're in love with each other and we want to spend the rest of our lives with each other. And we need your blessings in this. So the encouragement is, even when the parents are not for it, seek their blessings, that they are not for it, but they have allowed it to happen. Then that way they are freeing you.
Even if they're not for it, they have
are
allowed
freeing you because
They
you're
have
an
released
adult.
you.
You're an adult and they have released you to do it. Then that way the communication lines still remain open. You can still go back and visit with them. But when they shut that door, then of course now that's a different story, because you begin a family in isolation.
And it's very tricky.
And it's very encouraging when you have different cultures, because you're enriching one another's lives. With different things that you're both bringing into that marriage with different backgrounds. It can only be good.
It can only be better.
Yes.
Even as we wind up, because the show is about to wind up, I asked you off air, marriages that come and there was infidelity involved. And you know, the Bible actually allows for divorce on matters of infidelity. But I also know that if you work at it, not from experience, but I want you guys to tell us as marriage counselors, are there guys who've come and the marriage was affected by infidelity and they worked it out and the marriage was restored? Does it happen?
I want to say very, very, very many of them have worked it out. And today those marriages are even stronger than what they were before. Wow. Because initially they took those marriages for granted. And now they realize that they love each other and that they have to work on those marriages. Half the times we get married and then we rest. You know, when you hear you want to get married and get settled. You know, marriage doesn't settle anyone.
Settling down.
You have got to keep working at it. You have to work hard. So what we do, we take them back to restore trust in each other. other. We take them back to at least forgive each other and also to forgive themselves and to start walking slowly together because it's a process, it's not automatic. But yes, Kendi, it does happen. Marriages are restored and they become stronger.
Even when someone was cheating?
Yes, they become stronger with time.
Wow.
Half the times there'll be flashbacks in times of anger or disagreement. There are those pop-ups. Yeah. But with time and with a lot of prayer, because I believe we're talking to Christians, so you learn how to pray together and pray for each other.
And to forgive each other and to forgive yourselves as well. First, you must forgive yourself in order to have the ability to forgive your spouse. And it's a journey.
So for single people who want to get married, okay, what should I know? If I want to get married and I'm a guy, how do I find a chick? Let's go back to, does he know what he's looking for? Yes. That conversation.
You know, you need to, it's like when you're looking for a job.
Yeah.
You can't just say I'm looking for a job. You need to have an idea. You need to have a very good idea of what it is that you're looking for. I often challenge young people, do you have a quote-unquote job description of what your spouse should be? Because if you don't have a job description, what are you looking for?
So he must know what he's looking for.
You have to know what it is you're looking for.
And the lady must know what she's looking for.
Absolutely. Yes. Understand though, there is no such thing as a perfect spouse.
Yeah.
We're not perfect. None of us are. So you need to know who can take as many boxes on your job description that you have and work towards that. Understand that even when you then find that person and they've ticked many boxes, those boxes that are unchecked, that's now part of your journey to make sure that as you go through life, those boxes will be ticked.
You know, at times
what are the fundamental boxes? I think it's very important.
Yeah. What are the key boxes? What are the key
boxes?
What are the key boxes?
You know, for Christians, of course, the first one is do not be unequally yoked with an unbeliever.
Yeah.
So sometimes we fall prey, we tick that, and then the rest doesn't matter.
He's saved. So
yes,
it's okay.
The rest
Anything
is okay.
else
goes. Yeah, but the rest matters a lot. Compatibility. Yeah. And then also, does he compliment you? Are you at the same level? Yeah. Many other things. Are you friends? Are you relating well? Do you share the same values? Yeah. The background and upbringing is also very important.
Wow. Thank you so much. I think you've spoken to everyone, married people, single people. I wish we had more time.
These guys are cool, man. I'm liking them.
Yeah, 23 years later. You guys have any kids?
Yes, we have 2 boys, 21 and 18.
Wow, that's awesome.
And loving them.
And loving them too. Okay, that was Tukuzo Plus. Kroba, final thoughts about marriage?
Marriage for me, love is about giving. You know, the word of God says in Corinthians 1:7, it says love is patient, kind, jealous, does not brag. Then in closing it says love never gives up on people. It never stops trusting, it never loses hope, it never quits. Shika, that is the other end of love.
Yes.
And that's what God does for us. So in closing, do that for another person because God has done that.
And of course, I'm a married woman. I'm talking to all married women. Me, I made up my mind. I'm not leaving this man. Because you know, once you leave that door, someone else at the door wanting to come in. So stick it out. Work it out. Marriage can work. Marriage is a blessing.